In February of 2016, Crop Production Services of Palmyra, Missouri conducted a safety training exercise to simulate what happens if there is a chemical spill at their location. In this simulation, employees were briefed on the scenario and how the exercise was going to be executed. The scenario was a forklift operator was moving a shuttle of chemical on the fertilizer pad where another individual was working, and while repositioning, the shuttle was punctured with a fork from the machine. Once he realized what had happened, he evaluated that he was best suited to leave the fork inserted into the shuttle to reduce leak out. He then notified the closest person in the area what had happened and with what chemical, and instructed him to go to the office to notify the manager and others so they could take the next steps in handling the spill. Office personnel then made an announcement on the loudspeaker to notify all location employees that a chemical spill had happened and that everyone needed to meet at the location's rendezvous point.
Hey Sean. Yeah? You want to grab the SDS book? We just had a spill of Titan up on the fertilizer pad.
While outside individuals quickly headed for the rendezvous point, the manager instructed one employee to look up properties of the chemical in the location's SDS book and find out if the chemical is on the CERCLA list. He then instructed another to make all the necessary phone calls to local emergency response teams regarding the spill.
Fertilizer dike. Sean's in the SDS book. Would you make the necessary phone calls?
Yes.
The office was then evacuated to the rendezvous point as well. At the meeting point, the location manager quickly directed individuals and delegated all of the jobs necessary to handle the spill.
We've got a shuttle spill on the north side of the fertilizer building here. Jamin's punctured it with the forklift, so we're going to have to do a cleanup. So I need a couple guys to grab 2 pickups. We've got to have the all the safety equipment. We've got to have brooms and shovels. We need another forklift to grab a shuttle so we can put the chemical into. So why don't you grab the forklift and the extra shuttle. You two help load the truck. Why don't you get a pickup? You get a pickup.
Several employees were tasked with loading up shovels, brooms, and floor dry, while several others loaded up the location spill kit and an empty shuttle to pump the remaining chemical into an undamaged shuttle. While supplies were gathered, 2 members of the team suited up in their PPE suits, rubber boots, safety goggles, and double-layer gloves.
Right here. Go ahead.
Once the floor dry got to the incident location, several people made a dike around the hot zone to contain the spill from running any further down the hill, making sure to stay outside of the hot zone and in front of the spill. When they realized that that may not be enough, an equipment operator brought in several loads of gravel to build a bigger dike to make sure the spill was contained. The employees in PPE then entered the hot zone to begin trying to plug the hole in the container to prevent any more leaking, while the other began pumping the chemical out into the new shuttle. One employee stayed back near the road as a barricade to direct traffic and keep any onlookers from getting too close to the spill. Once the shuttle was drained, it was picked up and plugged to keep any more from leaking out.
Stop.
The cleanup process began by sucking up what liquid they could with the pump and then dispersing floor dry over the concrete to soak up the liquid that was there.
Right there. Now don't let it down. Keep it up.
The contaminated floor dry was then swept up and disposed of in the spill container.
We don't need the lid yet. He's going to put that in there. Doug, Doug, give him.
After the spill was cleaned up, a decontamination area was built and the exposed employees were taken through the process to remove their PPE and decontaminate to prevent them from having any direct contact with the affected gear. Finally, the affected area was dug up and all contaminated materials were disposed of through the hazardous waste container.